Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. We're looking at the third episode here of our multi-part setup for web design. Today's all about showing you how to move your website into Dreamweaver. Okay, and so far for my website, give you an idea of what we've got here, so we can take a look. These are all the different layers that are on here. And it would be really nice, I mean, it would be ideal if quite possibly I could just take all these layers and send them right over to Dreamweaver. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. Okay, so you can see this is the website as I've set it up so far. And what I'm going to want to do is I want to isolate all these layers, and one by one I want to send them as pictures to my images folder that we set up in the last part of our web design unit here. And what I want to do is some of these pictures are going to be JPEGs and some are going to be PNGs or PNGs. Depending on if it's a solid color, I'm going to be using my JPEG. If I have transparency that's involved, then I'm going to want to use the PNG. And I'll explain more about that as we get going. So to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and deselect my layers. And I'm going to start from the background and work forward here. So at this point, I've got my background all by itself, and I want to get it into a new document. So my first step is I have to get everything selected here. It's a really good idea if you have your snap guides on here or your smart guides, because at this point it's going to show up pink for edges, and that's going to help you highlight and select things. So now I've got my background selected, and I want to move that into a new document. So I go Edit, and I'm going to copy Merged. And from there, I'm going to go File New. Now at this point, setting up my new document here, I've got the dimensions all set up, 1920 and all that. I want to change my resolution so that it's 72. Don't need any more than that. My background right now, I'm going to keep it at white because I'm going to be trapping the whole JPEG on there. So I go ahead and click OK. And now I can go Edit and Paste. Here's my new document with just my background. Now I can go ahead and delete out this background here because I don't really need it. So now I have just my background as I designed it. Now the saving part of all this is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to save for web and devices. Very important for load times on web pages to do this. You've all been on pages where they take forever and a day to load up. Very frustrating for the user. So in the preset here, I'm going to actually go to JPEG, because there's no transparency on this. It's the whole background. It's a solid color. So on JPEG, I go ahead and I can keep the quality high here. And in fact, I can go up to 100% on the quality and keep that up. Now, very small file size, as you can see over here. There's not much to it. And what I'm going to want to do is go ahead and click Save. Now, here's the important part of the whole process. We created those folders the other day that were located on the server. So the example that I gave yesterday was in second hour in web design. I created a folder. My folder was 223 TSH. So my hour, my computer number, and then my 3 initials. Now, all of my images that I recreate, I want to save into my images folder. I also, as I'm saving, want to remember my naming conventions here. I don't want any caps or any spaces as I'm putting this together. It's just a good policy. It makes it easier to link everything up and label things as they appear on your website. So this is my background. I'm going to keep it simple and just call it background. And I go ahead and click Save. Okay, so now that layer is in there. I'm all good there. I can close that out. All right, I don't need to save that. And I can come back to the website here. I'm going to actually switch off the background now, and I'm going to work on just the navigation bar here. This is something that I'm going to want to actually pop up over the top of my background. And you can see that in this one, there's actually some transparency. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to get pretty close here, but keep a little bit of transparency around the edges here, because this is going to sit over the top. Now, good idea here to go ahead and zoom in so I can see exactly the adjustments that I'm making here. And I zoomed in quite a bit. Okay. And let's get my magnifying glass here. Go ahead and just get zoomed in here a little bit. And we can go out. All right. Now, from here, I can adjust my layers a little bit, or my selection. I can go up to Select, and I can go transform selection. And with this checked on here, brings up my anchor points, so now I can actually drag this in and get it nice and close to my selection. I'm going to leave one pixel box around the edges here. I'm going to do the same over on this side, approximately one around there. Make sure that everything's selected, and I'm good to go. Okay, once that's selected, same exact process. I'm going to go edit, and actually I have to confirm my selection first since I altered it. So I apply my selection. Now I can go to edit and copy merged, and I go to file, and I go to new. All right, everything's all set up here. Again, resolution, I want this only to be 72, and this time I'm working with a transparent image that's going to sit over the top of something else. So instead of a white background, I want a transparent one. Click OK. And there is my navigation bar. Let's go ahead and paste it in there. And there we are. Okay, everything looks pretty good here. I do want to make sure that I have, that looks like it's all set up here. There's no drop shadow on this, so I don't have to worry. So now from this point, I'm going to go File and Save for Web and Devices. And here's another difference. I do have transparency in this one. JPEGs do not allow for transparency, so I have to change it to a PNG 24. 24 indicates that you have more colors that are available to you, and that's pretty much what that means. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click Save at this point, and same thing. I'm going to make sure it goes into my Images folder, and I'm going to call this Navigation Bar. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right. That gives you a pretty good idea of what you're going to do with the rest of the website here, layer by layer. You got an example of a JPEG, an example of a PNG. You should be set. Continue to go through the process of layer by layer, getting that transferred over to your images folder. Next part, we will work on the coding and starting to actually get these things put into the website so we can visually see them. Thanks for joining us. This has been another episode with Red Hawk Media.